Excellent question.
Yeah.
The corporate tax cuts, what we have to 16 points, is necessary. The corporations create jobs. Corporation raising the taxes, we lose jobs. This is the basic difference between us and the Liberal Party of Canada. We created 500,000 jobs. That is not enough. We want to create more. I think it's a good mix. It's a good number to tax cut for all Canadians, this including Canadian corporations. The more taxes, remember the people come and invest their money, their hard-earned money in this country. If they're not making the profit, what they come to make profit, they will take the job somewhere else. They will take the business somewhere else. This is how we lose most of the time. People moving to third world, either to Mexico or United States or many other countries. It's necessary to be competitive to give the corporation enough incentive so we can encourage them to come and invest the money in this country. We need those, cuts is the wrong word, be competitive, which is a competitive number which we absolutely believe in will make the difference for the future. With this system, this is how we were able to create 500,000 jobs. 90% of them are the full-time jobs. Without this, you know what happened in the United States, in Greece, in Ireland, and among other European countries. It is necessary for us to stay on the course which the government of Canada have created these jobs, stay on top of it, so we can keep creating it for the future for this country and jobs for all Canadians. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Surya. It's your turn, Ms. Hawkins.
Hi. I don't think that we graded 10% part-time and temporary jobs. It was more like 25%. People are working 2 jobs now just to make ends meet. And there are other factors that are involved in keeping corporations in the country. You have to look at things like transportation, access to the market, access to suppliers, the cost of borrowing, as parts of that key decision on whether they want to stay here or not. In terms of corporate tax, you only go low enough to keep them into the country. You just don't keep on going lower and lower and lower. That's just giving taxes away. And they'll make their decision to leave anyhow and take the profits with them. Canada's combined federal and provincial corporate income tax rate is now 29%. 6% below the U.S. federal rate of 35%. And we're talking about a $60 billion corporate tax giveaway that people want to keep in their pockets instead of giving it to these big, profitable corporations to give their million-dollar bonuses out. That's not creating jobs. That's waste. Over and over again, companies like John Deere, Vail, Xstrata, Giaxo, SmithKline in Ontario, or Electrolux, and Merck in Quebec have taken these profits and then still shipped jobs down south. In Canada, we have uncontrolled foreign investment. During the last 13 years in power, the Liberals approved of every one of 11,000 takeovers. Mr. Harper wouldn't even consider questioning a foreign takeover that was less than $1 billion in assets. These companies have no loyalty to Canada. We think it's much more preferable to invest in small business, local business, who stay here and offer jobs to Canadians and use their profits in Canada.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hawkins. And Mr. McCollum, it's your turn.
Thank you very much. A first point that's important to note is that we're only talking about the tax rate on large corporations. The tax rate on small and medium-sized businesses, which are indeed the engines of job creation, stays fixed at 11%, a lower rate. So that's not in question. But for the tax rate on big corporations like banks and oil companies, the Liberal Party would have that rate at 18% in 2010, 18% in 2011, 18% in 2012, whereas the Conservatives are bringing it down to 15%. That costs the government close to $6 billion a year. So the question is, who needs those billions of dollars most? the ordinary families or the big oil companies. When you recognize that the price of gas at the pump in just one day went up 3.8 cents, I don't think those big oil companies are struggling. I don't think they need the money. But I think the ordinary families who are having such difficulty making ends meet do need that money. So that's the Liberal plan. Put the families first, not the big corporations first. The big banks, the big oil companies, they're okay. They don't need this additional help. But people trying to pay for their children to have post-secondary education, people looking after a sick loved one in their home, people wanting to make their homes more energy efficient, people needing affordable childcare spaces, that's where the Liberal Party will put this money, whereas the Conservatives would put it into the coffers of the big banks and the big oil companies. And that is not the way to support families. Neither is it the way to create jobs, because the evidence shows that the big companies have racked up surpluses of $83 billion rather than creating investment in jobs, whereas when you put the money in the pockets of ordinary students and people seeking to improve, renovate their homes, those activities will indeed create jobs.
Thank you very much, Mr. McCollum. And now we'll have a 5-minute debate.
Can I ask that, okay, for Bob, we're saying that for the corporate tax, John was saying that actually a lot of the engine is actually the small and business, medium-sized business. So how the federal government will assist the Canadian small and medium-sized business to do export and help them to do that or create job? Can you maybe elaborate that a little bit?
Absolutely. It's a good point. By reducing the taxes. This is the only way to
This is taxes on big companies, as he just said.
Yes, but at the same time, John, most of the job creation come from the larger corporation. Look at GM.
80% of job creation comes from small and medium business.
The GM is a prime example in Oshawa, in Windsor, and all other things. Absolutely, it make a difference. Combination of all jobs. One job is a one job for people of Markham Unionville. So what we are looking from every single angle, all tax cut for the corporation and for the private citizens. This including with the GST cut and the other tax cuts. Each family received $3,000 a year total tax cuts for all Canadians, for all Canadian families. But we are trying to get from every single angle to make the difference, not by putting more tax burden on the people, either the big corporations. Even remember a year and a half ago, Mr. Ignatieff said he will raise the GST back to 7%.
He did not. Look, you didn't answer this question, so let me try. The question was about how we create jobs or encourage small business.
Right.
So this large corporate tax rate has nothing to do with small business. Let me say two ways in which the Liberal platform helps small business. One is that we encourage small companies to start up. You may know that flow-through shares is a tax vehicle that has made the mining sector in Canada grow rapidly. We will use that same mechanism to encourage startup companies in high-tech sectors. That's small business, create innovation, create jobs. Another thing we will do, especially since youth unemployment is so high, we will give companies that hire young people a holiday on their employment insurance premiums. And employment insurance premiums are much more important to small businesses than is the corporate rate on big companies. So those two things will help small business.
Well, Jack Layton thinks that's really important, and he's going to lower the small business rate from 11% to 9% to put the money in the hands of the small business. And for each new job that's created by a small business, he's going to rebate the CPP and the EI for a full year. And at the end of the year, if the job is still there, they'll get another $1,000. It's to create new jobs for small business. That's what we want, and we're keeping it in the country.
I think this is all Liberal theory.
I'm NDP.
No, but absolutely. She is NDP, was pointing at John. The issue is we have proven it. 500,000 jobs, 90% full-time jobs. This election is all about jobs, creating jobs. We have done it, we will do it again, and we will continue doing it till all Canadians have jobs.
Look, this is a bit silly. It's as if Stephen Harper waves a wand and creates all those 500,000 jobs all by himself. No. It has to do with other things. It has to do with the hard work of Canadians. It has to do with the world price of oil and other commodities being so high that it creates a boom in our resource sector. It has to do with our banks, thanks to Liberal policies in the 1990s, which did not allow banks to deregulate. For those reasons, our Canadian banks are stronger, and so that has supported the Canadian economy. I think the Canadian growth has been reasonably good compared with others, that is true, but there are all these other factors, not Stephen Harper, that is the cause of that.
Look, John, with all the fairness, look at the United States. But the about $14 trillion deficit.
Do you know about the United States? I'll tell you about the United States. Just a couple of days ago, the governor of the Bank of Canada, Mark Carney, came up with growth forecasts.
Yes.
And he said that in 2011, 2012, 2013, all three of those years, the United States would grow faster than Canada. The United States would average 3.2%, Canada 2.5%. So how can you say Canada's leading the way when the U.S. is growing faster?
Smaller country, we cannot compare it, but you can make a point.
You cannot compare it.
Listen, look what's going on in...
Thank you very much. Sorry, but time is over.
No problem.
We'll take a break for now, and we'll be right back for a third round.